In this video, we are going to check out on how to use read_excel or to_excel to process the Excel files. Here, the data that we are going to use is present in this Excel file. It has two sheets. In sheet 1, we have the first line as a comment, and then the information is about various pieces of fish and then their weight, their vertical length, diagonal length and cross length. So sheet 1 has pretty much the information of the fish, and the first line has a comment that this file has fish information. And sheet 2 of this Excel, it has pretty much the same data as sheet 1, but the first line of comment alone is missing. I am using Jupyter Notebook for this tutorial. In the first line, I am importing pandas as PD, and in the second line, I am using read_excel to read the fish.xlsx file that we had just seen before, and I am storing the content to the data frame by name df. And in the third line, I am printing the value of df. So when I just run this block of code, you can see that the Excel is displayed, and if you see here, actually the first sheet of the Excel is displayed. This has the comment on the first line, and then it has all the other information in the subsequent lines. So the first sheet, which is sheet 1 in the Excel, is red. If I wanted to read specific sheet names, then I can use the attribute sheet_name, and then I can give the sheet name here. So here I am going to give the sheet name as sheet 1, and when I run this, pretty much we will see the same information. And when I wanted to read sheet 2, then I can give the name of the sheet as sheet 2, and you can see that the data from sheet 2 is stored. And in this, because the first line of the sheet 1 is having the comment, I don't want to use this comment. So I can just specify another attribute called comment, and then I can give the starting character of the comment. So when I do this and when I run this again, you can see that the first line has been considered as comment, and then the data frame is having only the remaining lines which are here. So instead of comments, I can also use skip rows. So here I am going to use skip rows, and I am going to give the value as 1. So this essentially skips the first row of the sheet 1, which is over here, and the remaining data is stored in the data frame. Here this Excel has two tabs. So if I wanted to process both these tabs simultaneously, then I should be using sheet name equal to none. So I'll just use the same line, reuse the same line, and here instead of sheet name equal to sheet 1, I'm going to give it as sheet name as none. So when I run this piece of code, here you can see the output. The output is in the form of a dictionary, and this dictionary has sheet 1, and then the corresponding values present in sheet 1 is over here, and then sheet 2 and the corresponding values of sheet 2 is present over here. So now df is having the entire dictionary, that is the data from both the sheet 1 and sheet 2. If I wanted to just store each of these in a separate data frame, then probably I can just create new data frame called sheet1_data, and I'm going to actually get sheet 1 from this data frame and store it to sheet 1.data. And in a similar way, from the df data frame, I am going to get sheet 2 data and I'm going to store it in sheet2 underscore data. So just as a sample, I'm going to again display sheet2 data, and now if I run this piece of code, sheet1 data should be having that information from sheet1 tab, sheet2 underscore data should be having the information from sheet2 tab, and the sheet2 underscore data is displayed over here, and you can see that this is having the headers and all the information which is present in sheet2. The first line of the data is always considered as header. But say if there is no header in your data, then you can give the attribute header equal to none. So here I am just going to use this particular line, pd.read underscore excel. I am reading the fish, and then here for sheet underscore name I am going to give it as sheet2 because I wanted to read the data from sheet2, and then I am going to give this parameter header equal to none. So when I read this, you can see that even the first line is considered as the actual data and it is not considered as header, and you can see that the columns are being numbered by default. I wanted to retain the header for sheet2, and so I am just removing the header equal to none, and now what I wanted to do is I wanted to convert all these NAs in the cross length as 0. So in order to do that, there is a facility called converter, and it works like a function. So here I am going to define a new function, and I am just going to give this function name as convert cross length, and as a parameter I am going to just pass in cell, and within the function I am going to check if cell equal to NA. So if the cell is NA, then I wanted to return 0, and if the cell is not NA, then I wanted to return the actual value in the cell. So this is a simple function which will convert all the NAs within this column to 0. Here I am going to use the parameter converters, and the converters take the input as dictionary. So here I am going to give the dictionary syntax, and I am going to give the column name. Cross length, I am going to use convert cross length function, and that's all I wanted to do. So now I am going to run this block of code, and I think I have made some mistake because the NA is not getting converted to zeros. So the mistake that I have made is I have not given the proper spelling for the cross length column. So here I am going to correct that. LENGTH. So now it should work properly. The NA over here should be converted to 0 based on this function definition, and when I run this, you can see that it is converted to 0. Probably I can also show you one more function wherein I wanted to convert the weight. So if the weight is NA, then I wanted to have it as 5, and if the weight is ##, then I wanted to have it as 10. So probably I will just define one more function for that, convert weight, and here I am going to take in the cell values, and if the cell is equal to NA, then I am returning 5. Else if cell equal to ##, then I am returning 10. So and this is what is about the function. Now I need to add this converter to the converter's parameter. So here I am just giving a comma, and then I am giving the name of the column, weight in grams, and I am giving the name of the converter, convert weight. Now the output should be having 5 for parkey and 10 for perch as weight. So when I run this piece of code, it just has 5 and 10, but you can see that all the other values are actually having not a number. So I need to return the default value as I have done in this function. In order to do that, I need to just add this line, return cell, and we are all done. So if the value is NA, 5 is returned. If the value in the cell is hash hash, 10 is returned. If both these conditions are not satisfied, then the value in the cell is returned as is without any change. When I run this piece of code, you can see that all the values are remaining intact, and you can see 5 and 10 has been replaced based on our code. Now this df has this values, and I wanted to write this df into one another new Excel. So for that I am going to use df.to_excel, and as parameters I should be giving the new Excel file name. So I am just giving the file name as new excel.xlsx, and then I am going to give the sheet name as sheet 12, something like this. So I am running this piece of code. Looks like the new Excel is created, and yeah, I can see that the new Excel is created over here. Let me open this. So you can see that the Excel is created, and it is having all the values in the data frame, and it is also having the index which is created by default in the first column. So I don't want it to have this index. In order to do that, I can give index equal to false. So I am giving index equal to false, and I also want to just offset this, in the sense I don't want to start it from this specific cell. I want it to start from second row and third column. So I can use the parameter start row for rows, and then I can give the value 2, which indicates that the offset should start from second row, and then start column I can give it as 3. So now I will just close this, and I'm going to run this one more time, and I will open it. So here you can see that the offset has been created. The start row is 2, and you can see that it is starting from row 0, 1 and 2, and then the start column was 3. So it is starting from column 0, 1, 2 and 3. So this is how you can offset the data when it is written to the new Excel tab. And you can also notice that the default index is now not present. Our original Excel had two tabs or two sheets, and actually as part of our coding we had stored both the sheets in separate data frames by name sheet1_data and sheet2_data. Now if I wanted to write both these data from both that into separate tabs of a new Excel, then I can use a class called Excel Writer. So this is the piece of code. Here I am using the class Excel writer with pd.excelWriter, and I'm giving the name of the new Excel that needs to be created. And here I'm using sheet1.data, and I'm writing that data to a new sheet called sheet21, and I'm writing the data from sheet2.data to a new sheet called sheet22. So when I run this block of code, a new Excel by name multi-tab Excel should have been created, and there should be two tabs in the Excel by name sheet21 and sheet22, and it should be having the same data which we had seen in our original Excel file. Let's check that out. The code has run and multi-tab Excel is also created. Let me open up this. So here I can see the Excel is created by name multi-tab Excel, and it has two tabs. The name of the tab that we have given, sheet 21 and sheet 22, and sheet 21 was having the data from the first tab which was having the comment in the first line, and sheet 22 was having the data which was not having comment from the second tab of our original Excel. So I can also just use the other parameters like index is equal to false to remove the index, and so on and so forth. There are lots of other parameters that could be used along with read_excel or to_excel. You can check out the documentation for the same. If you just Google read_excel in Pandas, you can check out the Pandas documentation, and there you can see the different parameters that you can use along with this read_excel and to_excel. I hope you like this video. For more such videos, please subscribe to my channel. I'll store this code in my GitHub repository and include the link in the description of this channel. Thank you very much.